That's right. That's right. That's right. I am one. Let me get back in the algorithm. Can I get an audio visual check from the folks rocking with me? Yeah, no, I've been out the algorithm, have not delivered videos consistently and doing them janky struggle streams, just out walking. I'm a busy, busy man though, you know? I don't want to get too far into this. Somebody let me know if it's looking good and sounding good. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Been having some issues with the Wi-Fi in the building that I'm at right now. Currently, Oakland, California. It's actually a beautiful day over downtown Oakland, California. Y'all let me know. I need to know before I can go. Somebody type in there, is the audio a yes or a no? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I got to do it myself. Can y'all hear me? Okay. We got the feedback since y'all won't help. Y'all let me know who's in here though. We got to talk about some things though. Oh my goodness. So, I'm a videographer. If you guys saw the intro reel, showed some clips, just general lifestyle clips, but I'm a videographer, visual media producer. Oakland, California, split my time between here and Las Vegas, entertainment capital of the world, because there's things to do out in Las Vegas. So I'll bring that up because the big shift for me as of late has been more into this health and fitness realm, and doing that is just such a crazy learning curve. You got to learn a lot about the physical human body, physiology, biology, all this good stuff. But what's more so important about this whole thing is the psychological aspects of it. So when you get into, fitness, there's the nutrition component, and when you get into the nutrition component, it's essentially eating, it's diet, however you want to look at it. But how people relate to food. And we're at a time in the world where people have a lot of different distractions, a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of people who are, let's just say, overweight, sick, unhealthy, but in some kind of way are prioritizing other things. And we really got to talk about this. And we really got to talk about who is being honest about this, the psychological, emotional elements of this. It's, I need self care. It's all of these things. But there appears to be a general lack of personal accountability and prioritization to take action on things that most people know they need to do. And let me also start by saying shout out to the people who are taking action to do the things they need to do, right? Because again, getting into this stuff more, lifestyle coaching and leveraging strategies that I've learned and personally experienced and utilized over the last 15 years. And then also taking a lot of knowledge base and experience from the career I've built with visual media, because a lot of stuff crosses over. This is like business consulting. Cyrus Reeves, what's up? Business consulting, business production. But there's an interesting overlap. Obviously, for somebody looking to start a business, it takes a lot of energy. It's stressful, especially if you're peeling away from a whole different, work regular job. So, side hustle culture. That's a big thing in the Bay Area. You got to be doing multiple different things to be successful. But you're gonna want to be healthy to mitigate and manage the stresses of these things. It is overwhelming. And there's the hustle culture concept of, I'll sleep when I'm out of here, I'll sleep when I die, and I'm gonna burn the candles at both ends. And this is some interesting stuff. But there's a lot of people who are not actually out here trying to grind and build for themselves. Even if you are, you don't want to really be making those sacrifices. You got to prioritize the health and fitness thing, arguably more. So that has to be like baked into the whole lifestyle thing, from a business owner entrepreneur thing. Like, and I love that whole, business renaissance, entrepreneur renaissance, people on that vibe, kind of more, like earn your leisure, just whatever. But, more people in the stock market, more people looking at flipping houses, all this different stuff. Start a business, start a business, start a business. Yes. Independent. I'm an advocate of that. I've done it myself and working on multiple businesses even right now. But the health thing, so for me, visual media work, working with all these different people, learning all these different things, but then to say I'm going to extend myself into this personal training, fitness coaching, nutrition, lifestyle coaching thing as another business. you just learn so much straight away. Those things tie together so much, like an ecosystem. So I'm always learning. And as you learn, you realize, wow, the things that motivate people to really be on top of it, who understand the level of investment as you're getting older, aging, as we understand that, typically people's energy level is lesser than it was when they were younger, but you have more responsibility. How are you offsetting that? I hope we're aging gracefully. And I think about it from the standpoint of, again, the people who are prioritizing this versus the people who aren't. I did an interview with Supersize 75, one of my YouTube buddies, longtime guys I've been rocking with on this thing for a while, just the other day. And we were talking about, for the most part, guys coming into that approaching 50s stage and, approaching 40s, and the use of things like TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and why a guy would approach that. And there's, myriad reasons why. We talked about young guys using performance enhancing drugs and how that's going to impact their system and maybe create the need for something like testosterone replacement therapy because the way it's going to impact their body. But more importantly, the guys who are in their 40s who maybe didn't get ahead of the game and for whatever reason are looking to go do things more of, in what is, in my opinion, a shortcut. Let me go take some exogenous synthetic substance before doing the needed lifestyle changes, kick the can down the road, knowing I'm getting older, approaching half a century. Let me go take this other thing, or let me ignore the things I know I need to do while at the same time taking a shortcut. And let me avoid anybody who's even remotely talking about that. Because like with Sly, he asked me some interesting questions. Shout out to Endog New in the building. What up? You already know what it is. Like the health and fitness thing, it gotta be that. And let me say this to say, the title was, kind of clickbaitish because we are definitely about solutions. So if I put a title, we're fat, sick, and unhealthy, but we have bigger priorities. That's kind of the general where we're at in the world, the zeitgeist. We got other things. Obviously, the president. We got the Charlie thing. We got Candace now. We got all this different stuff. Trump with this deal that he just made with this company. We won't get into that. Some of the stuff you might want to pay attention to, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff, medical industry, big business, stock market fluctuations, economic stuff. I mean, that's something we got to worry about. But a lot of this stuff, we're gonna get into a few different things, but a little bit of a provocative title, but we are about solutions here. But getting more into this lifestyle fitness coaching thing, it's interesting, right? Because people are coming to me with different issues and looking to take on that accountability. But as I'm talking to some people, I'm seeing people don't want to address things for sure that they openly will tell you they need to change, but will find every reason to not do it. And it's like mind boggling. And I understand the psychology of it. But again, when I run this sort of like thought experiment, well, what happens if we have 100 people all playing this mental gymnastic game of, I know I need to do it, but I got every reason in the world to not fix it, to not seek help for it. It's just going to work itself out. What do we do with that? What if it's 1,000 people? What if it's 100,000 people? What if it's 1,000,000 people? What if you get millions of people who are like, yeah, no, I got to do this thing. I got to get this weight off. I'm sore and achy and, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s and I got these issues and I got to get these numbers down. And it's like, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep going to the same people in the form of like the medical industry who are giving me some type of chemicals to say that it helps and it modulates it and it's helping, but I got to stay with these chemicals that I know, and then I need a chemical for that chemical. I need a drug for that drug. I don't know. When the truth of the matter is, if you get with the right people, and I'm not even saying that's me, but if you get with the right people, most of this stuff is so easy to fix. So yes, we're about solutions, but this stuff is a lot easier to fix than you guys can imagine. And I'm a living example of somebody who's coaching people to fix a lot of these things. We're gonna get high blood pressure, hypertension. Stop it. Laughable. Laughable meaning, it's serious, but laughable in the sense that it's very easy to fix. The diet nutrition thing, dieting, people all over the place, lack of motivation. I mean, most people are feeling the effects of the snowball effect has already gained so much momentum. The snowball is big. And you don't know how to melt that thing. You don't know how to slow it down or melt it or whatever. Just to stay with that analogy. Who else? Look, hold on. Let me address the chat. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Hit the like button and all that good stuff. Share the video. We gotta really gotta push the health issue. Shout out to my guy Gold P. He was on the other day and he was talking about health and specifically blood pressure, if I'm not mistaken. And that's dope. We need more guys talking about that, and we need to get out in front of that. I got young homies in their 20s and 30s who look at me and it's like, man, I at at my age now, I wish I looked like you and had the energy that you have at your age, which is 47. So I'm on that, fast lane to 50, half a century. So when you quantify that, it sounds like different things to different people, but half a century, when you put it in that context and approaching that and understand a lot of the things that come with that from, what we've understood, guys get around 50, testosterone is extra tanked. It's okay to just have this excess body fat. And, I'm just kind of a husky dude and that's okay. But I got all these health issues and everything ain't working quite right. And this stuff is unacceptable. I was just talking to a good friend and client of mine, and we're just talking like, a lot of these things that we've been led to believe should just be acceptable are, I'm a living example and I've seen it. You can have a whole lot of vitality and this vibrance about you and athleticism approaching, 50 in your 50s. Like now is the best time ever with the level of technology and information we have. You just got to know where to look. And you got to get out of your own way and not do the mental gymnastics thing to try to like make it make sense to keep doing what you're doing. But if you really seek out the right information and really put boots on the ground and the rubber to the road and say, look, I'm about to do this and really get into prioritizing, because most people's priorities are all effed up. Once you really say, I'm about to do this, we doing this, we going in, the information is there. Like people are giving it away for free on YouTube every day if you know where to look. And stuff is so simple. Like it's the hardest, easiest thing. Like literally, you can fix most of the issues most people have by simply not doing anything, aka don't eat, aka fasting, intermittent fasting, intermittent eating. Just stop eating as much. J3 in the building says a healthy lifestyle often requires consistency, which is boring, but boring is where success is. And this applies to different businesses. This applies to relationship kind of stuff. A lot of people, male and female, guys, in this algorithm understand the issues, a lot of issues, modern issues. We're going to get into that in the stream too, with men and women. But for the most part, you don't want a woman that's some super baddie video vixen looking chick that got all this extra attachments and whatnot going on. You want the chick that's chill. You don't want the super hyped up video dime piece, because that's the opposite of boring. Boring is better. Slow and steady wins the race. Boring is better. Yes, for sure. Without a doubt. I mean, think about it. I'm a videographer. That's kind of cool, but often kind of boring. Editing is boring. After Effects, motion graphic stuff is actually kind of boring and tedious, but I love it because I'm just a nerd like that. And then when it's art, right? And art that helps business and that helps convey a message. It's communication. I love it. It's nerd-ish. It's technically falls into boring. I'm not an R rapper. I'm not a musician. I'm not blah, 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 right? Pretty boring. But getting into coaching people on health and fitness, oh my God. Okay, it's like boring because a lot of people are anti that and playing these mind games and want to get away from it. But on the end of it, the people I've been working with, when they're hitting their goals and hitting their numbers and actually being healthier, feeling better in life, it's by far the most gratifying thing I've ever experienced. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing just to see it And, obviously you take pride in the idea that you helped them do it. But to really just see people looking, feeling better, being more healthy, it is just absolutely beautiful. Let me do something here too. Let me do something here. One moment, please. I just need to send this video out to a couple of people. And one more. All right. So Coach DC in the building, Shaka Nulu in the building. Remember, I was talking about it when I got out of the hospital. Yeah, and shout out to you bringing that up. Yeah, man. Like, and we got to circle back on that. We haven't talked about that in a minute. And of course, you being in here, I wasn't just gonna bring that up. Freezing Lou in the building. We definitely should talk about that. I'd love to know where you're at with that. And man, you know what it is when I'm in Vegas. I've been meaning to pull up on you anyway. I think your work schedule is still crazy. I'm just talking specifically to New, but we got to address that. Because man, I have so many tips, like tips, tricks, hacks, and this stuff is so easy to fix. My guy DC, he knows what it is. The diet nutrition thing, literally just how you eat, it fixes most of the stuff, or even don't eat. DC, I think you did a video talking about fasting the other day. I mean, he's on TikTok crushing it. I hope to get that active. And then Ant Dog's comment, sometime in the show, can you elaborate on what Erica was talking about last night? Your journey, some of the moves you made off that influence. Which thing specifically, Ant? Because she kind of talked about a few things like within the last 5 years. I mean, since 2020 for sure, the whole pandemic thing, I've made a lot of changes in my life because I realized it's time to get serious. It's time to get these priorities in order because people are playing major games with health, right? And what that really means. Now, I've always been into fitness big time. That's been on the back burner. That's what's helped me build different businesses and be consistent and really have success in my career doing the visual media work. That led to a lot of networking. So we kind of broached that discussion in Erica's chat as well. But that stuff all ties together. But one of the biggest changes is the diet, nutrition, tying the fitness in with eating right. The fasting part is huge. Shout out to Super Sly. He posted a video. So I'm not just telling his business. He did a short talking about he completed his first 36-hour fast. And I'm like, oh, and like I said earlier in the stream, I did, me and him did a dope, like 2-hour chat last Sunday, I want to say that was. And we were talking about, the TRT thing and guys having health issues to the point of even getting like there's a YouTuber who I'm not talking ish. He got essentially a fake, like a penis install device, a device installed to essentially pump up his erections because he's having health issues because this guy does food reviews from fast food places. So this is where we're at with it. Like priorities all effed up. See, I'm trying to play the algorithm game and be chill. Maybe I'll get more wild later. But I mean, think about it. We got guys approaching 50 having all kind of sorts of issues, avoiding accountability, avoiding prioritization of health, but to the point where, I mean, forget a man weave, which is wild, but let me go get a whole joint Johnson package install that helps me pump this up so I can feel like I can, pleasure my significant other. And like, this guy's talking about this stuff. And so me and Sly was kind of chopping it up about the mentality of where a guy must be at, and then to publicize it and kind of stand on it like it's like a dope thing versus getting your lifestyle right. Like, why are we that far off the rails? Why are we so far off the rails? And, me and Super Sly didn't quite agree on this. And I'm not experienced with TRT, but my standpoint is for sure, if a guy is going to go this route, do the lifestyle change thing first. I still stand on that. Do the lifestyle change things first before you essentially go get yourself hooked on something that you got to stay on. Because again, I acknowledge my ignorance about it, but somebody more versed in it, Super Sly, said that once you get on TRT, you pretty much want to stay on that for life, because if you stop taking it, it's going to taper off and you're going to be kind of right back where you started. Now, I've heard conflicting reports about that as well, but taking it from him, and I want to talk to more guys about that. Anybody in the chat, let me know if you're on TRT or anything. I want to know, because I know people personally who told me recently they went on TRT, and I'm like, well, did you consider how you would sort of off ramp from that? Do you actually plan on taking this forever? Because in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be married to, chained to, ball and chained to some type of company that has to make something that I'm supposed to naturally make. And if I stop getting it, then I'm going to fall off a cliff as far as my overall vitality and health. Like, I just can't wrap my mind around that. Like, I don't know. I don't want to, sound judgy and be insensitive, because, we're in everybody's so sensitive. Oh, it's so serious. Coach Falcon was good. My guy. Salute, bruv. Cyrus Reeves said, I could never be a fast food reviewer having to constantly eat processed crap. I can't do it. And I was laughing about that too, because I was like, really? Fast food reviewer? I could see, because, I spend a lot of time in Vegas. There's all these different restaurants. I could see doing food reviews when I was just there. I went to some fancy new restaurant in the shops attached to Caesar's Palace. And they treated us well. Brought us all kind of food and drinks. It was dope. Little Rock in the building, one of my, all hard hustle. That's what's you already know. What you know about that? What you know about that? Did a little cheat day, cheat night, Vegas style. But so in a fancy restaurant, I can guess see that. I'm not a big foodie person anyway, especially, y'all hit the like button. I don't know. I don't know how we looking on the like button, but let me see something. Turn this down. First of all, let me look at some things. Hold on, I'm just trying to tap into the stream myself and see how y'all acting, see how y'all behaving. You hit the like button, okay? The likes ain't matching. People be going off about the likes. And let's see what we got in here. Let's see what we got. All right. We good. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Yeah, so the prioritization to the point where we're going to get fake unit attachments, guys out here with man weaves, guys out here with fake dyed beards, just the level of masculinity dropping off a cliff. And, I focus on men because it's like, meanwhile, we want to be leaders and the women aren't submitting to us and blah, blah, blah. It's like, y'all know how I get with that. Where's the masculinity at? And is it low T? And if so, well, I'm going to just not go do the hard things that men are supposed to do to boost the T. Let's not eat right. We don't want to work out. We just want to go take this drug that's manufactured by some company that's probably also setting us up with some other kind of poison. So we help their overall bottom line. I don't know. Are we shooting ourselves in the foot with this? But collectively, it can't be like male, we're going to lead, or, we already got people with the toxic masculinity and down with the patriarchy. But then at the same time, it's like, what? Freeze on Lou says, I'm doing a fruit only, right? The fruit only, what are you saying? A fruit only, right? Friday to Monday. Why though? Why though? Going into the fall. And that's another thing too. Like, I hope people are prioritizing health and fitness. Shout out to the people who are going into the fall winter season when people are known to do the fall off. It's like, oh man, sketchy times for people. We catching some of those last days here in the Bay where it's nice and sunny, but we see the time shift is going to come up. It's about to start getting hella cold. Vegas gets cold. The Bay gets cold. Make no mistake about it. California ain't just sun and surfing beaches and all this. It does get cold. The Bay gets real moody with the weather and whatnot. Vegas gets hella cold in the desert. Oh, fruit only fast. Yeah, I can't recommend it. I mean, if it works for you, I try to be careful with this stuff, but there's so many reasons why I would advise against that. I am a certified personal trainer and I'm coaching people on certain diet strategies, and in my personal professional opinion, I would not do it. I like, from a moral standpoint, I would not advise against that. But if that's working for you, cool. And if you have a proper strategy, I hope, if you're going to do this fruit fast thing, alkaline diet, fruit fast, and I've done it. I've done it. But fruit is full of sugars, says Coach Falcon. And is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Because it's definitely sugar. It's definitely sugar. It's definitely a lot of sugar. And then are we going to do it going into the fall, winter, when typically see, that's the thing. People get to the whole diet wars, and it's like, well, and I'm going to talk about this more. What about the whole seasons thing? Like, you understand there's seasons. Yeah, fructose. He says it's not good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know, but I try to, because people get real touchy about it. And you're gonna force your diet on me. He said, talk to me. I'll open to a shift. Okay, let's get into this whole seasonal diet thing for sure. Basically, and I was breaking this down to one of my guys just a minute ago. Your body is literally made out of fat and protein. Body is made out of fat and protein. And it's also made out of bone. So we got like calcium, we got these like minerals, right? We got these different things going on. Shout out to Coach Falcon for the pounds, the 3 pounds, the 199 super sticker pounds. I appreciate that, sir. You all can also feel free to super chat or hit the Cash App at AM10AK if you want to do all that good stuff. Hit the Cash App. I ain't got to scroll under. Do I have a banner? AM10AK. Also goes up to my other channel, AM1 Lifestyle. We're made literally. So the idea is eat what you're made out of. We're not made out of cellulose from plants. You dig? Plants also have defense chemicals. And I'm not one of the anti-plant guys, but I'm just saying, understand what you're dealing with. And when you understand this logic right here, for better or for worse, a human body is literally made out of, for the most part, amino acids, fatty acids. And the most bioavailable way to get that from something external to you and add it to your body is to get it from something that's of the closest kind of substrate, the closest kind of structure. Sorry, and I don't necessarily like it. Don't shoot the messenger. But the easiest way to get fat and protein on your body is from animals. Sorry. And that's literally all you need, right? Because when we get into macronutrients, protein, fat, carbohydrates in pretty much every case are sugars. Your body can make its own glucose. There's cells in your body that need glucose, but your body can make its own glucose. Essential fatty acids and essential amino acids are called that because they're essential for you to build it onto your body. So when you do the math on that, it makes it very apparent like what you should be eating. Eat the thing that your body's going to take and build onto the structure in the most efficient and clean way so your metabolism works to give you energy and to build the structure. End of stream. So if you're going to say, I'm going to do a fruit only diet, then in my mind, I'm like, why though? Now I'm asking it like that, and I'm saying it with a little bit of sarcasm because we really do want the mindset shift of asking questions on why we're doing what we're doing and really understanding what we're doing. But how I just broke it down, unless somebody can argue, we're literally like, if you cut open it's literally the muscle fibers. So if you eat muscle fibers from another animal, it's more likely that you can break that down and assimilate that onto your body. That's literally what's happening. Is there some benefits to plants? There's certain ways we can get into that. That's when we get into the seasons and where you live, regions and microclimates and soil content and the plant life there, how that breaks down and fuels the soil, what animals are eating these things, what ruminant style animals, what edible type of animals up a food chain. There's all these different things that you would have to factor in. How long is the people? phenotypically in that area been eating these things, and then they, transplant all around the world. So this culture has been eating this for 100 years, 500 years, then go over here and try to eat the whole grain wheat from the pastures in the US and then wonder why their stomach is falling apart. Before we even get into this processing and seed oils and whatever else is inside of it, fam, the whole thing is super complex. But it's really not when you understand, well, wait a minute, what is my body made out of? What if I just dial everything back and just eat more aligned with what is this body made out of? How do I? It's like saying, well, I got in a car accident. I got in a car accident and the door is kind of bent. I can't close it all the way. I got this fender that's messed up. So let me go get something that's not a car part and try to let me go get a part from my house and try to put it on my car. And then wonder why it doesn't quite work as good or feels good or we can't eat animals or whatever. It's just like, fam, stop it. Isaac T Studio on the building. Shout out to my guy. Yeah, I heard it was going to rain in Vegas. I had to skirt out right before that happened. I don't like rain. Although if it's going to rain somewhere, I'd rather be in Vegas and it be raining than the Bay and it be raining. Because at least it's probably warm there still. Hold on, let me go back in here. Falcon said low-key level when AM on talking shit. Always interesting. I appreciate you, man. We go way back in this thing. I hope you've been good. I know you was dropping content for a minute and you kind of dropped out for a minute. Now I see you back. Good to see you, sir. I appreciate that super chat earlier. I'm not pro plant. It just showed a positive result in me. I'm more into practicality more than rhetoric. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if don't get it twisted. I've done these things, like all the fruit only diets, juice fast. I've done all that. Master cleanse. I've done all assault. I'm just gonna eat pure plants, raw, whole food, blah, blah, blah. I've done it all. What I didn't do for years was actively say, you know what happens if I really just lock in on eating ruminant animal nutrient dense meat sources. Pause. And because I never thought about it. And then when I looked at people talking about carnivore diet, blah, 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 because I was doing keto and keto, there is what's understood as a keto diet, but there really is no keto diet. It's just eating low enough carbs to where you put yourself in a state of ketosis. Cool. Fat burning, essentially. So, and DC just talked about that. When those ketones hit, I'm good. Exactly. Like, if you guys don't understand what this is, man, again, I was just talking to my guys about this right before the stream. When you get those ketones really dialed in, like my ketones are hitting right now, and I'm torching a ton of calories right now. I'm already on 1,000 active calories, walked around Lake Merritt. No, I'm in Oakland. So yeah, I'm not there. Back in the Bay for work. You feel me? Yeah, be a scientist to your own body, freeze on Lou. Well, it's true. And that's like, you want to do that, but at the same time, at least start your hypothesis for your scientific experiment. Make sure it's grounded in some legit observations, and don't be afraid to kind of take a page out of somebody else's research ahead of the game. There's certain L's that just kind of don't need to be taken. There's some benefits to it. But let me say this though. If somebody is eating a whole lot of like rando food from wherever, just standard American shitty fast food diet kind of stuff, and then you switch up and say, I'm just going to eat fruit for a few days, you're definitely going to feel better. So if you're coming from general janky diets, and then you say, oh, I'm going to be vegan or I'm going to be vegetarian or whatever, and just eat plants, of course you're going to feel better if you stopped all the ultra processed food. So ultra processed food, as most people are eating it out of convenience at a high clip, then sure, go into some kind of plant-based thing, but that's just baby steps. You don't want to stay locked into that, especially men. And I don't know, it's arguably more important for women, but it's kind of easier for me to talk to men, even though a lot of dudes be hard-headed and super emo and super feminine about it, because it's like hormones are dropping off because not having enough fat. Like, fam, you gotta have fat, you gotta have cholesterol, because that builds the hormones. If the hormones in your body ain't acting right, it's a wrap. It's game over. You're not gonna burn body fat if the right or wrong hormones are too active in your body. Testosterone's too low, you're storing more fat. You're storing more fat, you're gonna create more issues with the hormones. So you're gonna put yourself in this hamster wheel, and you better get priorities all fucked up. We got to get on it sooner than later. And you don't want to let it be into your, fourth and fifth decade of life, half a century, and you fumbling. Like, "Ooh, what do I do? But I'm tired. But guess what? Let me go worry about politics and what women is doing and online tribe and blah, blah, blah." Absolutely insane. But yeah, our bodies, as we understand them, are not made out of plants. They're not made out of fruit. So the nutrition and nutrients that you're going to get from eating something and putting it in your body, you're better off getting it from something that's going to be much easier to digest and assimilate onto your body. I don't even like the idea of debating or whatever, but I'd love to see somebody try to argue against that. Well, of course you can get the same nutrition from plants. Who is that? Jodell Phillip in the building with the 5 on the super chat. I super duper appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you being here. I hope you sub to the channel, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Peace and thanks. He says, how do you manage hunger cravings? I intermittent fast and eat all my meals between 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Oh, 18-6 daily for the past couple of weeks. Yeah, buddy. To really understand the whole question that you ask about the hunger cravings, we kind of need to do what I do with my coaching clients. We got to walk down memory lane for the last month, for the last year, for the last 5 years. What did your diet look like? If you ate more carbs, first of all, what are you eating in those meals now between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m.? We need to know that, because if you are eating more carbohydrate foods, it's basically sugar. So it's going to create a situation where, depending on whether it's starch or, high glycemic uh, sugar or carb sources, either way, if that's the bulk of what you're eating, your body's going to need more. It's going to need more sooner versus you eating something that's more nutrient dense and takes longer to break down. Like if I'll just say meat, ground beef. So I'll just use that one because coaching my guys right now, I'm like, fam, if you don't stop playing with me, you got issues with your diet. If you're good with eating eggs, you're good with eating ground beef, start there. You kill the game with that. Is relatively inexpensive. It solves all your problems. Eat 4 eggs, half a dozen eggs, and a quarter pound of ground beef. If you do that and you're running 16-8, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., you make your first meal be ground beef and eggs. And I say it that way because pretty much anybody can do that. You probably be fine at 6 p.m. You're probably ready for your food. Again, like Jodell, I would have to know more of your information. If you want, you can hop on a call. But we got to know what your food looks like, because you said for a couple of weeks. We need to know what that looked like. We need to know how your body's going to adapt to the different foods, or if you're changing anything up. Did you just start intermittent fasting, but you're eating the same stuff? Like, let me know if that makes sense in the comments. There's some other variables we need to know. But for what I do managing cravings, here's the thing. I already have been eating low carb, carnivore style, weaving in and out of that for the last 2 years anyway. I eat specifically based on how active I am that day. And in general, it's going to be low carb no matter what. So my carbs are going to be easily, but somewhere around less than 50 grams of carbs a day. I pretty much only eat 1 or 2 meals a day because my meals are pretty chunky, nutrient dense meals. And when I say nutrients, I'm talking about more fat and protein. And when you eat like that and your body's adapted like that, and you become keto adapted or fat adapted, it's easier for your body to say, oh, well, we know there's body fat on your body, so let's just go burn the body fat. The more you get keto adapted, the more you have satiety hormones that are just kicking off anyway. And when you eat those kind of foods, you have satiety hormones kicking off anyway. So you just feel less hungry in general. And then when you would actually need more energy, your body just says, oh, well, we'll just use the fat that's already here. In other words, it's not trained to say, we need this whatever this substrate, this food from outside. So part of it is it's a matter of how you trained it over time. That's again why I say we got to walk down memory lane and see how you've been running it for the last few weeks, for the last few months, for the last few years. Anybody who's really going to approach a diet nutrition discussion has to be coming at it from that point of view. But the more you get into that, and there's other hacks and other tips and tricks that I have for that. But yeah, I mean, I ate one meal a day today and a protein bar and walked around Lake Merritt and did a long ass call earlier. And then I'm sitting on this one 40 minutes standing. No, it's whatever. And I may or may not even eat anything for the rest of the day. No big deal. Let me see. And I appreciate that super chat. Let me know if there's more questions on that. I kind of said something, but didn't really say something. But part of it is to really answer the question properly in your one-on-one case, I would need more info. That's just the honest truth of it. Frizzle and Lou said, exactly. I'm coming from general janky diets. The amount isn't high enough. But at 36, I feel the difference harder when I eat something janky. Yeah, the older you get, the more them janky meals are gonna hit worse and worse and worse. Yes, and you're gonna feel the brunt of it. Andre 420 says, I've been walking 1 to 3 hours a day on trails, and I'm looking into joining a gym, but haven't worked out in a minute outside of work. Yeah, the walking, coach my guys on that too. Like, look, no excuses. Walk, 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 walk. If you're just trying to do general, some of the guys I'm working with are, dealing with old people type shit, right? Like, high blood pressure or whatever. And it's just general excess body fat. And it's like, busy lives, responsibilities, all that. It's like, look, no excuses. Body weight squats, lunges, wall sits. We're getting blood pressure down. We're getting excess body fat off quickly. We're manipulating the diet. We're doing intermittent fasting. But here's the trick. I'm going to just give the game up. Everybody got to be doing this. Book in your days with at least a 30-minute walk. So walk 30 in the morning before you eat anything, walk 30 minutes after your last meal. As simple as that is, as crazy as that is, some people, when they do it, they're like, what is that going to do? And they do it and they're like, whoa. That, for someone who's very inactive, just doing that alone is going to be miles worth of benefit. So yeah, just walking alone, steady state cardio, walking. I mean, it taps right into fat burning. And then if you're doing that while at the same time manipulating your diet to be lesser and lesser carbs, aka lesser and lesser sugar, less and less blood sugar spike, less and less insulin spike. Insulin is a storage hormone that makes you want to store fat. You see what I'm saying? When you get into the chemistry of that and you're sort of burning the candle from both ends in a proper way, you're burning more fat while putting yourself in a more fat burning state. You can't lose. But some people want to fight me, but I need my carbs though. It's like, I don't want to try to hate, but good luck. You got it. Jodell Phillip, you let me know if that made sense. Yeah, but it has to be the priority. It has to be the priority. I feel like I missed a comment. Oh, okay. So interesting. Keto is okay, but too much protein fucked up my kidneys. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works. There's that whole myth about protein messing up kidneys, but it's really it doesn't work like that. The kidneys are being damaged by something else. If there is seemingly excess protein that's not being filtered out by your kidneys, what's happening is that's showing up because the kidneys are already damaged. It's just not even how it works. Like, and in most cases, I mean, there's people pounding 200 grams of protein per day, like bodybuilder style stuff, or I mean, bodybuilders go way higher than that, and they don't have kidney damage. It doesn't inherently damage your kidneys. That's not how it works. The more likelihood is that there's some other thing in your diet over the years, some accumulation of toxicity or whatever, that had something to do probably more with something you're drinking, because kidneys are more of like filtration for fluids in your body and fluid balance. The liver is more about managing fats and proteins and basically everything else. Like, it's the main hub for cleaning and building in metabolism. The kidneys is more filtration for blood, plasma hyperdistillate, then, ends up going to your uterus or the uterus, the whatever, to then you got to pee. Bladder. God. So yeah, that's one of those other sort of myths, like the whole high cholesterol myth. It's just the games people play. Zenny says, no, it's warm and quick. What does that mean? Warm and quick. Wait, shout out to my homegirl Zenny in the building. Okay. I just want to make sure I was caught up in the chat, but I know I saw something. Yeah. And wait, let me address this too. And then the whole thing with keto, again, keto isn't an actual diet. Keto is just having low carbs. And technically, with the standard keto diet, the way they would try to set it up as a diet as far as macro proportions, keto is actually higher on fat because the strategy is that your carbs are low, you're going higher on the fat. So you're going more like 60% on the fat, 30 on the protein, somewhere in there, and then that other 10% would be your carbs. And you want to keep your carbs under 20% or 20 grams per day. So it's going to be even less, maybe 45 on the protein or 65 on the fat. There's different variations, but it's somewhere like that, like when you split up to 3. So the carbs obviously super low, then the fat is higher, and that will help you get into a ketosis state. So even the way you just broke that down, New, is actually inaccurate, sir. But yeah, I challenge anybody to really run a proper keto diet clean without like processed keto treats and all this. And watch what happens. You're going to lose weight. You're going to have all kind of metabolic issues be healed for sure, including kidney issues. He said, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I didn't know my kidneys were fucked up when I was doing heavy keto. Well, the thing is, the heavy keto would have probably fixed it if you're doing the keto clean, because there's dirty keto. There's all these different things where, depending on what you're eating, because again, keto, there's a lot of ways to do keto because there really is no specific keto diet. Keto is really more about the macros and how you set that up. Technically, you can eat a whole bunch of carbs and still get into ketosis if you fast a lot. I was actually getting into ketosis while still eating kind of more plant-based vegetarian kind of diet because I was fasting a lot and intermittent fasting a lot in a way I was torching a lot of calories. So, you eat and then go work out a lot, you're kind of burning through the glycogen stores, you're getting into a point, and then you don't eat for a few days, your body's going to dip down and be like, oh, I'm in ketosis now. Cool. But when I switch over to more like an animal-based nutrition approach, then I'm eating mostly fat and protein. Like today, my carbs are so low. I'm like getting into ketosis now. Just the more active I am, if I go walk this lake again or go to the gym, it's game over. I'll be in ketosis by tomorrow. But I'm already fat adapted like that. I've trained my body to go burn the fat. Like it's such a good tool to have. That's why I say everybody should for sure get with, at least try to understand, like know your body. Be your own scientist, but really do that experiment. What happens if your macronutrient breakdown is more protein, more fat? Leveraging those, seeing how that works directly depending on how active you are. Try it and see what happens for a good, I would say 6 months, because for some people, depending on where you're at, it's going to take you a good 3 months to even get properly into the keto adapted state if you haven't done it. If you're more active, it's going to happen faster. So you just want to watch that. But I mean, just with the keto macro approach, understand if something's not meat, if it's not fat, then it is carbs. So it's not just bread, it's not just cakes, it's not whatever. All plants are carbs. All breads made from plants are carbs. So you understand that. It's just 3 things. If you take that third thing, the carbohydrate thing, that you have to basically go get from, well, your body technically does make glucose itself, but exogenous carbohydrate food substrate structures that you eat, however they're processed, or you pick it off a tree or whatever, keep the amount of those by weight to be less than 20 grams per day. And if you do that long enough, your body has no choice but to go burn body fat. There's pretty much no way around it. New says, I never did dirty keto or dirty low carb. So then, yeah, did that mess up your kidneys, or did it reveal to you in some test that your kidneys were already messed up? That's kind of the tricky part with this. It's kind of the tricky part with this. So yeah, as I was putting together this stream, I kind of just had some notes, and I was thinking about, like, yeah, we live in a time with more access to health info, gyms, and apps than ever before, yet obesity, stress, and burnout are all rising. So then it's like, why don't we actually do the things we know make us healthier? So there's the whole prioritization thing, people having the priorities all messed up. Thinking about that, people just say they just don't. What you guys, let me know, chime in on that. Like, in this stuff that I ask my coaching clients, how the time management, is it a matter of confusion on what to do, or is it I know what to do, but I am busy with work? And I understand that. I sympathize with that because my work is all over the place, traveling all the time, and just different projects, different time frames and deadlines and whatnot. So I understand how all of this works. Um, and then it's, to think about, like, the time where we're at now. We have all this access to information, we have all the technology, we have all the tools, the adjustable weights, we got the vibration plates, we got red light therapy, whatever, we got everything you could think of, gym memberships, everything you could have, apps. Obviously, we got YouTube, free workouts, all the social media, people are giving away free workout programs and blah blah blah. We have all of that, but at the same time, it's like oversaturation and just being bombarded. So in this modern time, it's hard to have discipline. And, like, so imagine a homegirl that I was kind of coaching a couple of years back. She would talk to me about all these videos that she was downloading, and, like, I'm gonna try this workout. I'm gonna try this workout. I'm gonna try this workout. And she told me, well, she would, bookmark all of these workouts that she saw on Instagram. And then she was like, well, I got all these workouts. I'm like, okay, well, which ones are you doing and sticking with? And she was like, well, I don't know which one. And I'm like, why don't you just jump rope? Just start with just jump roping for 30 minutes every time you come to the gym, instead of, like, fooling around and, floundering around. What workout do I do? And all these fancy workouts, and dudes want to have you doing, like, crazy, uh, just military training drill workouts. And it's like, fam, chill. You don't even got to do all that. Like, stop. Just do simple, start with burpees. Stuff is pretty simple. Yes, Sly, I was talking about you earlier, man. Our chat the other day, the PP pumps, guys eating fast food for a living, basically, mukbang, whatever, but older guys falling apart to the point where your junk is not right and you gotta pump it up like a Reebok pump, and take the easy path and go get, literally be on gear, like actual gear. You got stuff installed into your body. This thing pumps this down into this pump. And if you don't depump it or deflate it, then you got an issue with that. And the prioritization. And then we talked about a lot of things. Like, I don't know how long you was listening, but the solutions, yes, Reebok pump, penis pump. Dude was saying it himself. So I'm not talking ish. He said it himself. He said it, thinking I was like a clever, cool kind of thing. And I'm like, where's the grit in, like, man, I come from a time back in the day, in my old age, where men was just really on a whole other level, where if you would have even said, like, the thought of a guy needing something like that. I mean, I was talking about that too. Like, the OGs we looked up to, these guys have vitality and just was just either just naturally just yoked or just strong, or even the guys that were more slim, you could just see the way the whole energy was just different. Like, my uncles, the way they was moving and rocking, like, we looked up to that, like, oh yeah, this is what a man is really moving like. Now we got grown men looking like YNs and skinny jeans, just flailing in the wind and just weak looking, and no posture, no type of seeming, like, standard male level aggression, eye contact. Fools got weak, limp handshakes. And I'm talking guys in their 30s and 40s. Guys care more about their hair, beautification damn near than the women do. And it's like, what is going on? They talk about the testosterone, and the thing about the atrazine in the water. About the turn the frogs gay. They're turning the frogs gay. The Alex Jones reference. Atrazine in the water. Something is going on. The hormone endocrine disruptors. The birth control pills are feeding back into the water supply and messing up people's stuff, or they people cooking stuff in plastic, and you're getting microplastics embedded in your testicles, and testosterone dropped off, and fools is like, we're at a point where men are not prioritizing standing on some type of like real male business, to the point where we're here in 2025. Reebok pump, penis pump, proudly talked about on YouTube. Like, fam, what is this, an affiliate deal? You got an affiliate link? Like, what are we doing here? So again, with access to all the information and all the stuff we have, people are just still clueless and still got other things to prioritize, other sources of entertainment to focus on. That's more important, apparently. But then again, obesity rates going up and just going crazy. And it's like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? But we got everything else to focus on. Isaac T says, these cats are made out of plastic these days. Man, I don't know, because that's giving plastic a bad rap, because some plastics are really hard plastics. They make helmets and stuff out of plastics. Certain plastics in car parts, that's giving plastics a bad name. You offending plastic. These dudes are made out of satin. These guys are made out of something real soft and flimsy, and a lot of grown men are in their soft guy era these days. It's like, what are we talking about? And it's like, come on, guys, let's just be men, the protectors, the leaders, defenders. Let's be honest. I've had discussions with guys in the last, month, 6 months, and it's like, whoa, that kind of hurt my feelings when you said that. And I was like, what? If you don't get out of my face with that shit, like, what are you talking about? I grew up with people talking all type of shit. And it's like, that's just how it gets down. Like, what do you mean? Or even better, it's just somebody saying some real shit to you. And it's like, well, yeah, like, oh, or if I felt some kind of way about that, then maybe it's true. And now I got to assess that. Like, why am I triggered by what this guy just said to me? Well, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. We in soft guy era. Oh my God. There's some stuff I wanted to get into in this, because now I want to flip to something more positive. All right, let me do this. I'm gonna touch on this one thing, and we'll see. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We got some super chats in here. We got some support. I really do appreciate the support. Let me see. Okay, I got some people that I sent the message to tapping in. And let me just check another couple of things real quick, and we'll be back. All right. Sly, you still in here? Yeah, Sly did his first 36-hour fast. Sly, you still in here? Tell us about that. Because I'm big on fasting. I've been running this program for years now, Mealless Monday. And it just works well for me for Mondays, because, and I gotta talk to more guys about that. Do we have football fans in the chat? Because we got Monday Night Football, we got Sunday football all day. And part of my strategy for Mealless Monday, you got to be disciplined. You got to be about that life, because you're winding down into a 40-hour fast that starts on Sunday and ends on Tuesday. How does that play into the life and lifestyle of a guy who's big on football? Because Sunday you turned up watching back-to-back games, maybe, or it's just your one team. Or if you're one of those kind of guys, you're gonna watch a lot of the games Sunday night, all day, Sunday night football, Monday night football. Can that Mealless Monday strategy work because then we got Thursday night football too? For any guy who's big on football, who's interested in fasting. I'm just curious about that, how that will play out. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that, even if you're not a football fan. Sly, if you're still in here, let me know. But yeah, the fasting thing is so big. Like, when we talk about health issues and metabolic issues and whatnot, it's to the point where it's like there's just so much no excuse, because like I was saying a minute ago in my notes, we have access to all this information. And then it gets to the point where it's like, fam, just stop eating. Just stop eating. Well, I will die if I stop eating. If you don't stop playing with me, if you don't stop playing, I'll die if I don't eat. Stop it. Jordell Phillips said just came off a 21-hour fast yesterday. Ain't at 36 yet. Yeah, buddy. And I appreciate that other two, fam. Yeah, I mean 36. I do it at 40 because it just makes it so simple for me to start at 7 p.m. on Sunday and then come off it around, or no, exactly at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. So just that 40-hour window works for me. He said try a 7-day dry fast. Yeah, I've actually done, not willingly, but I did a good 4 or 5 days dry before. It wasn't, I was sick. So I was sick in such a way where I couldn't eat or drink anything, or it was excruciating pain. I had like a tonsil issue. And I lost a good 25 pounds that week. So dry fasting is way crazy. But yeah, I will no dry fasting. Like I rock with it, but not no 7 days. Not no 7 days. That's asking for potential trouble. Now, if you can do it, I say rock it out, but I think there's better ways to do it. But dry fasting is legit. I've dry fasted. I've done like dry fast days, dry fast half days, and then still worked out, got in a sauna, and just kept water handy. Got in a sauna while dry fasting. Yeah, buddy. I've tested out all kind of different stuff. Who said that earlier? New said be your own scientist to Lou. Like, yes, I've done all kind of self-experimentation. But yeah, Jodell, get up to that 36. Because here's the thing with fasting, and I'm gonna talk to Sly about this. Sly is still in here. He said a 36-hour fast, but I think the way he set it up was that he woke up on a particular morning. He ate something that day, if I got this right, and then he stopped eating like in the middle of that day, and then he went that whole night, didn't eat anything, woke up the next morning and was still fasted, and then finally breaks the fast the next day. So depending on how the timing worked, let's say if you stop eating at 10 p.m. that day, so you get up, have breakfast, stop eating at 10 a.m. that day. Then by 10 a.m. the next day, you're at 24. So then you gotta wait until whatever time to get that 36. That's cool, but what I'm talking about, if you are running the numbers, is a little different. I start my 40-hour mealless Monday strategy at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Go to sleep, wake up on Monday. Don't eat anything all day on Monday. Go to bed Monday night knowing you haven't eaten anything all day. And I'm laughing because it's not for the faint of heart. And you kind of got to get used to it. And when you do, you're like, it's unbelievable because you're like, I legit didn't eat anything. And I'm about to go to bed. It's crazy. But then you wake up on Tuesday and then still know, depending on what time you woke up, I'm still not going to eat until 11. So 40 hours. That's the real test because you go to sleep that first night, it's like, whatever. You wake up it's waking up the morning after a whole full day. That's when the magic really happens. That's when you're in this whole other metabolic state for sure. You might not even be able to sleep depending on how you eat and how you set it up. I mean, I got a whole like protocol on how I set that up. Depending on how you go into it, if you try to cold turkey off the couch, try to jump in the game and get on the team and get jumped in the gang, the Mealless Monday gang. If you just try to do it like that, you're going to hold the L, but it's a good L to learn. But that first night is going to be horrible. You're probably going to fail, and that's okay. The way I coach it, it's okay to fail. Because then you set it up, and we learn better. And when we learn better, we know better, we do better. And then you come back at it, because fasting, without a doubt, is a tool everybody should have. Just like the understanding of how to put your body in ketosis, which technically fasting is almost one and the same. But you can put yourself in ketosis with how you eat, modulate carbohydrates, or just straight up fast. If you fast, you're going to end up in ketosis anyway, because you obviously have to burn fat. So just to be clear on that, those are tools everybody should have in their back pockets. These are literally like your birthright metabolic tools you're supposed to have. There's times in human history where you didn't just go to the fridge and just get your food quite that easy, or go to a store and get your food that easy. You had to get up and go hunt. And while you're out on the hunt, something might be hunting you, or you might hunt something and be like, oh, me and the gang about to eat this, and we're going to take it back to the tribe or whatever, take it back to the family or whatever. Little House on the Prairie, the wife going to, prepare this and process it or whatever, cook it into a stew and get the good collagen and whatnot out of it. In some instances, from food procurement in the wild, you would have to go catch an animal, hit it at long range with some kind of weapon, and that thing will run for more miles. Now you got to go track it down. And there's times where people were doing this fasted, in heat, in cold, all kind of craziness. And then what happens if you can't find it? You got to walk back miles back to your camp and be like, damn, everybody hold this L because nobody's eating today because we didn't catch nothing. And what if this goes on for a few days? Like, that's my point. We're at this point of convenience where we could just go to the store. We can go to the store and buy the most nutrient-dense foods, and people are acting clueless about, like, what should I eat? It's like, what? Walk around the edges of the store and eat from there. It's like yeah, sure, because if they put the processed food in the middle or whatever, processed fake food that's designed for shelf life. New says what you have to break the fast is important too. Absolutely true. It is absolutely true. New said, I did it once, but working makes it harder. My 3-day water fasts are easier when working. Oh, you talking about the dry fast? Yeah, trying to dry fast while working? I mean, arguably a 3-day water fast while working and doing the kind of work you do, that's pretty rugged, but you should definitely do it for sure. But I mean, even the 3-day water fast, I mean, that's dope. But I guess the idea would be, how often are you doing them? That's why I kind of devised the Meatless Monday strategy. Like, if you really had a certain goal, you trying to like do a cool reset, lock in on Meatless Mondays, or, I do it Mondays. You can set it up whatever day you want. But if you do it with that strategy where you don't eat for a whole day, wake up, or essentially 2 nights, whole day, then you wake up 40 hours, you're going to be in a really dope metabolic state. You're going to have done a lot of autophagy work, self-cleansing, healing work for sure. And then you eat right, get some training in, some movement right for the rest of the week. Then repeat that again the next week. If you do that for a month and you eat clean and eat really good, you're going to have a whole different body. You're going to have recomped a little bit. Like, you're going to have lost a lot of excess body fat. There's just no way around it. I got so many strategies in the tuck. It's just ridiculous. My 3-day fast are either in the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. Okay, so that's my point. If you do a 3-day fast, beginning of the month or end of the month, which, what do you mean? I'm going to do it on the 27th, or I'm going to do it on the 1st to the 3rd. Like, what are we talking? You see my point when you say the beginning of the month or end of the month, because it's technically the same thing. Or are you doing them twice a month? That's why I say doing a 3-day water fast once a month, you actually get way more value out of doing a 40-hour fast 4 times a month. Holla at your boy. Holla. Do you do mealless Mondays for weight loss too? Well, okay, so you're doing them twice a month. So if it's twice a month, then technically, I guess you're doing it at the beginning of the month and at the middle of the month, or you're doing them at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month. So what, you're doing a 6-day water fast? The math ain't mathing. No, stop playing with me. Do you do mealless Mondays for weight loss too? Well, technically, I'm not that concerned with weight loss. Because I've definitely been obese in my life, and I've lost a lot of weight. My average walk around right now, because man, I for a good run, I'm always changing up my training style. But for a minute, I was doing a lot of sprints. And when I was doing these sprints, it made my legs bulk up big time. So I kind of nudged up like my base body weight. So at one point, my base body weight would always sit at like 194. And I'm 6'2", just to give you some context. And I'm pretty lean. But I have body fat on me, like love handle back kind of body fat that is really hard to get rid of for me. And that's just, how everybody's fat deposits and just based on genetics or whatever. And I have fat that still has like residual damaged old fat from when I was more overweight and obese, because that overweight obesity came from me eating a whole lot of processed foods, a whole lot of seed oils. And that stuff is so toxic that it actually harms your cells in such a way where it almost creates like what's considered senescent cells or zombie cells. So I have fat cells that are old that need to go away. And it's very hard to get rid of them. So that's why I use that fasting strategy, because it kind of forces the issue on this autophagy, self-eating stage. So I'm not necessarily worried about it from a weight loss perspective because I'm still building muscle. So I burn fat and body recomp. The idea would be to not add more fat while at the same time being able to stay nutrient dense enough to where I can still recomp, build more muscle mass, and while at the same time detoxify that old fat that's been lingering for a while. Because any fat that's been lingering for a while most likely already has other types of fat soluble toxins embedded in them. So you want to get rid of all that. But the thing is, it's tricky because the more you attack the older fat that's been sitting, you're actually essentially liberating more toxins. So it's an interesting balance to it. But yeah, Meatless Mondays is really about that metabolic reset, keeping just the hormones, the blood sugar where it needs to be. But also, I'm playing this long range game of clearing out old damaged cells, whether it be muscle cells, fat cells, whatever. And to do it with that level of repetition just keeps me locked into this pattern and this habit to where I just stay on point, and it just keeps it easier, right? And I know if I do decide to have a cheat day or I go out to, resort casino, whatever, I don't know if Zinni is still in here. We went out and had some drinks and whatnot and was chilling and had big fun. And we went to this spot at Caesar's Palace and they took good care of us. And it was like I could do that. And it was no big deal because I knew I was gonna go back and reset. So I'm always way more ahead on fixing, healing, building. So if I do kind of backtrack and have a janky meal, then it's whatever. It's not as bad. A cheat day, cheat meal, whatever. But yeah, so it's more nuanced than just weight loss. I'm actually targeting specific old fat for sure because I'm trying to essentially get rid of all that old fat and then later replace it with proper fat that's built up right. Because you get into the whole science of fat and how it deposits on your body and what's fatty infiltrates. It's crazy. It's like nerd level stuff for sure. But yeah, I can let you know more about that if you want. Let's see what else we got. I had some articles that I wanted to get into. Let me see. I might want to holler at one of these. What the hell is this? Oh, okay. Actually, I'll save these for another stream because I don't want this to be too long. So I'm gonna shut it down at this, right? Because 1:15. I really appreciate everybody rocking with me, especially since I been neglecting the algo for a minute. But yeah, shout out to Falcon Blizzak, Coach Falcon with the super chat in pounds. I feel real international. Jodell Phillip came through with the 5 on a super. Super duper appreciate that. Jodell, hit me up on Instagram at AM1 Creates if you want, because you asked a great question there and you're already intermittent fasting. So I see you in the game. You in the game and you kind of in the gang. So if you want to chop it up, I'll get you on a call. No fee. and we'll talk about some things. And just depending on where you at, if you want some tips and tricks, whatever, I can do it in a more focused kind of way. But you asked me a question. That's a great question about the hunger cravings, and I would need to know more about what you got going on, and what your goals are. Super Sly came through and dropped. I appreciate that. Joe Del Phillip came back and dropped again. I really appreciate everybody rocking with me. Shout out to my guy New, Cyrus Rivas, everybody in the building. Cindy popped in. I think my homegirl Leilani's in the building. My guy Isaac T hit me up whenever, bro. You already know. Hit me direct. Freeze on Luna building. Okay. That was good. And we out.